Sometimes a movement begins not with a speech or a protest, but with the simple act of reaching out your hand. Twist, twist, twist of fate radio. It was the mid-1980s, a time when America's headlines were filled with political tension, Cold War fears, and a culture obsessed with excess. But beneath the neon colors and big hair, another reality existed. Millions of Americans were quietly struggling, living without enough food, without a roof over their heads. Hunger and homelessness weren't just urban problems. They were everywhere. Enter a small group of organizers with a big idea. If people could join together, physically, maybe they could show the country that unity wasn't just a slogan. The vision? A continuous human chain stretching from one coast to the other. A living symbol that no one should be left behind. The concept grew out of the same creative team that had launched the global hit We Are the World just a year earlier, an effort that raised millions for famine relief in Africa. But this time, the focus would be on America's own communities. The challenge was staggering. 6,600 miles of highways, deserts, farmland, bridges, and city streets. How do you convince millions of strangers, farmers, teachers, bus drivers, celebrities, and school kids to leave their homes and stand in line, all at the same moment? And without the internet. Organizers harnessed the decade's pop culture power. Musicians, TV personalities, and public figures pledged to take part. Promotional spots aired in primetime. Local papers ran front-page stories. Radio stations sold $10 link-up tickets to reserve a spot along the route, with proceeds going to food banks, housing programs, and community aid. The line itself would pass through 16 states and the District of Columbia, connecting bustling cities with rural towns that rarely made national news. May 25, 1986, Memorial Day weekend, arrived with clear skies over most of the route. From New York City's Battery Park to Long Beach, California, people began arriving hours early. Families packed picnics, churches sent buses, schools turned the event into a field trip. Many wore matching t-shirts or carried signs, some homemade, others provided by sponsors. And then, at exactly 3 p.m. Eastern Time, it happened. For 15 minutes, America connected, literally. From skyscraper shadows to dusty back roads, from desert heat to mountain chill, hands locked together. Strangers smiled, children waved. In the cities, the chain felt electric. Blocks of people singing, laughing, and shouting to keep the moment alive. In the remote stretches, volunteers filled the gaps with banners and ribbons so the line could remain unbroken in spirit. Celebrities like Michael Jackson, Lionel Richie, and Diane Sawyer stood alongside factory workers, veterans, and kids holding hands for the very first time with someone from another state. More than 6 million people took part. The effort raised over $34 million for hunger and homelessness relief. Critics pointed out that only about half of that made it to the programs themselves after expenses. But for those who stood there, the value was measured in something far greater than dollars. It was about the feeling, however brief, that the country could put aside its differences and stand together. The cultural ripple was immediate. Photos of the chain filled newspapers across the nation and flashed across television screens around the world. Teachers used the event to talk about unity and service. Communities that had been just a dot on the map became part of a shared memory. And for many, it became proof that a simple gesture, like holding someone's hand, can become a powerful act. And the name of this audacious coast-to-coast experiment in connection? It would be remembered as Hands Across America. This has been Twist of Fate Radio. I'm Angela Clark. Until next time, remember, sometimes the smallest choices lead to the biggest consequences. Want to explore more stories like this? Visit twistoffateradio.com. There you can read more details about this story and others like it. Plus, you can submit your own Twist of Fate story to be considered for a future episode. You never know what twist of fate is coming next.